Go away, Tom. Get the hell out of my office. Salty? Is that you? Alright, hold on. Wait a minute. Alright, what do we... Okay. Okay. Usually I just look around. There it is. I'm sure I could find it somewhere in here. In there, again, how do they program this into this? This is a logic problem that I should be able to reverse engineer into YouTube. That's a problem I want to keep in mind. Well, I set this up like a figure 4 deadfall in physics. Like, no. I'm gonna get me a hacker. I get a dark web hacker that's out there murdering people. It's like, you've done physics wrong, you dumb motherfucker. Get back here. Well, then tell me that problem. Tell me about it right here. Look at me. Look at me. Interesting. Program says, well, you called me, you're going to give me $1 million to murder her. Can I just click buttons and make this different? I mean, is that possible here? I got all the Infinity Stones and I have to click my fingers for half the damn years. Interesting. Okay, what do you want? We'll just hang out for a while. Alright. I like this one. This is a good one to watch. If you're with me, you're hanging with me.
And you find a chessboard. Each of the 64 squares has a coin sitting on top of it.
Okay, that's this now. How do I know? Because I graphed that motherfucker until I fit 64 sons of bitches in.
And taking a step back, this is going to be one of those classic...
Then there is -1 physics. Everybody else. This guy. He's this guy. We're doing... Yeah, he's this guy.
Offers you and a fellow inmate a chance for freedom, but only if the two of you solve...
Warden, on the Bluestone Militia, you will be my new senator. Look at me. Look at me.
Some elaborate scheme that they've laid out. In this case, what they've done is carefully turned over each of the coins to be heads or tails according...
So I was in Delhi. I walked in. Bang, right in the corner. E4. Where you at? Right here. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, E. So we're in the king's position. 4. A, B, C, X, Y, Z. Yeah, Z balls on. We moving this one first. So E4 becomes that piece every single time. When I was in jail, that became the number, right? I'm sitting behind bars. E4. First move is E4. The step outside of the gate, inside of this little box, 64 over scale 1 and 0. When it's not that, I want the scale of it to be 1. And so that's one move. It could be under any of these moves. They don't tell you, nor do they give you the orientation of the board. And they could change that any time. Where is it? The Monopoly game where they don't give you dice and you have to make them out of paper in a bag and reach in there and grab one? Yeah, right there, E4. I was in the box. I was like, next move, motherfucker. Let's dance. Of course, when I said that, the warden looked at me and I looked at him like, calm down. I'm not in your fucking clique. Calm down. We pinned this row right up here and that's E4. That's the next move. When I seen that move, it come at me like that. I realized that was on that E4.
Whatever pattern they want it to be. And then they show you a key. They put that key inside one of the chessboard squares.
Right now.
Each square is a secret compartment or something like that. So you know where the key is. And the goal is... going to be to get prisoner number 2 to also know where the key is. But the only thing that the warden allows you to do
you won't be
is to turn over one and only one of these coins. At that point, you walk out, your fellow prisoner walks in, and with no information other than the set of heads and tails that they're looking
XYZ.
at, which you've only barely tweaked, they're supposed to deduce where the key is hidden, potentially winning freedom for the both of you. As is typical with these puzzles, the two of you can strategize ahead of time if you want, but you won't know what the specific layout of heads and
then
tails
you use
is.
this, guys. And if you put both those in there together and that dude realizes how fucked they are right there. That's right, warden. You're outvoted.
The coins and the key. So, I first heard about this puzzle over dinner conversation actually at a wedding, and it just totally sucked me in.
I've watched this before. I've seen this. I know he's going to say something important.
And I think my mind was
Here.
glued to the topic of flipping coins and encoding state that whole time. But the puzzle sticks with you even after that. After I solved it, I fell into these two surprisingly interesting rabbit holes. One was to prove that the challenge is actually impossible if you
Is
vary
it
the set
is
a
it the
little,
size of a chessboard?
maybe making it a 6
I-
by 6
is it?
chessboard, or maybe removing one of the squares.
We use the
And to
breadboard.
give you a little sense
It's
for
8,
where
and
that
which you'll
rabbit
need
hole
5,
leads,
and sometimes
this
2,
video
maybe
is gonna
7.
end with an especially pleasing way to paint the corners of a 4-dimensional cube.
Those
The
are
other
the
rabbit
periodic
hole
table.
was to work out how closely you can connect the solution of this puzzle with error correction, which is a super important topic in computer science and information theory. The idea is that
I
when
do it
computers
real
set
simple, down and
and
dirty. You
store
want
data,
hydrogen? You
the
start.
messiness
You
of the
find a
real world
fire,
inevitably
brother. You
sits a
drunk
bit
or
down
walk
with
your
it.
problem through
That
Nile
can
Red.
completely change how the data
Then you
is
go
read.
to Nerd
So
Rage,
error-correcting
right? And then
codes
he
are a way
teaches
to
you how
add
to
a
make sodium and
shockingly
not
small
blow up
amount
the
of
beaker.
information
Because he
to a
blows up the
message
beaker, he
that
puts it
makes
right
it
here.
possible for
It's
the
right there.
receiver to identify
And
both
censored
when
it and
there
like,
is an error
nah, ones and
and,
zeros,
more
chemistry.
impressively, precisely how to fix it.
Click, click, click.
It turns out that the intuition for solving this puzzle is essentially the same as the intuition behind
Click.
these things called Hamming codes, which are one of the
Is your
earliest
brain here?
examples
I'm
of
in the
high-precision
classroom.
error correction. Which is all to say, time spent mulling over this problem is not as useless as you might think it is. Now, you and I aren't actually going to go through
Different
the solution
element
here.
coming at you
Instead, I
heavy,
filmed a
fast.
video
You know it's
all
hitting you.
about that on Stand
That's
Up
the
Maths with
table.
Matt Parker,
If the
who I'm sure
simulator's
many of
gonna
you
hit,
recognize from his
and
combined YouTube and stand-up and book fame.
he does a lot. TED Talk.
We
When
each
you
talk through
cut
our
this
thought
off and
process
say
in
this is
solving
the
it,
same
and it's good fun,
conversation in
because there are
TED
multiple
Talk
ways of
about.
looking at it.
That's
Instead,
why they
what I
want
wanted
you.
to
That's
do
the
here
gravity they're
is
trying to
take a more
define with a
global
missing
view of
piece on
every
Penn's
possible
Row right
strategy
now.
for
I hit
this
the
puzzle,
board right there.
and bring you
Come
with
up.
me down that first rabbit hole of proving why certain variations necessarily leave room for the warden to thwart you, no matter how clever
They
you
don't
are.
teach you that, the warden.
The proof itself is one of those satisfying moments where you shift perspective and it reveals the solution.
This is
And
the
whole
Stanford
context leading
Marshmallow
up to it
Experiment.
is a
Modified
nice chance to
Stanford
practice
Marshmallow
reasoning about higher
Experiment. It's a
dimensional
damn
objects
dragon.
as a way to draw conclusions about information and data.
His method is good.
Plus,
I
if
would
you wanna
understand that
help
he
appreciate the
hit
solution
the
to the original
topic.
puzzle,
E4, your
you can see
move.
how
I
it
can't
is,
do shit about
says,
that. In
almost
terms of the women,
impossible.
I have to start Penn's this thing to only kind of slow that down about some things. It might augment some things, but essentially you have the win here.
Where to start?
I might,
What we
the
want
resources
is
on the
some kind of
approximation of
visualization for what it even means to
pi.
solve this puzzle. And to build up to the general case, let's knock things down to the simplest
Throw in
case that we
pi.
can that still has
Euler's
any
no.
kind of meaning to it. 2 squares, 2 coins, and 2 possibilities for where the key is. One way that you could solve this is to simply let the second coin communicate where the key is. If it's tails, it means the key
got
is
one
in the
brother
left
in there. He's
square.
got. All right,
If it's heads,
no,
it means
you
the
can't
key
do
is in
that.
the right
Nah.
square. Not a big deal, right? It's one bit of information.
He does
So
this.
if you
I'm
need to
watching
change
it
that
for him.
coin, you can flip it, but if you don't need to change it, you can just flip the other coin. First things first, let's stop thinking about these as heads and tails and start thinking of them as
In a
ones and
general STEM
zeros.
resume, it's
That's
good.
much easier to do math
It's
with.
good. In a general
Then
STEM
you can
resume,
think of
this,
these
he's going to
pairs
bring
of
this up as
coins
context.
as a
This
set of
become a measuring
coordinates,
tool. It's over
where
ones
each
and
of the
zeros.
four
Now, I don't know if he
possible
went that
states
route,
the board
or if he would
can
even be
sit
thinking
at
about
the
it. But the
corners of
second
unit
it
square,
hits,
like this. This might feel like a silly thing to
Where was
do
the
when
black
we already
dot?
know how to solve this case, but it's a good warm-up for turning the larger cases into a kind
zero,
of
these are zeros important.
Notice,
0,
flipping
1.
one of
Then
the
he goes
coins
0, 0
moves
because
you
this
along
is
an
the
edge
hot
of the
set
square.
between limits that
It's
define
only
X, Y, Z,
changing one
which
of the
would say this is
coordinates.
1, 1. This
Our
has to be in a
strategy of letting
position
that
where
second
that
coin
is. And if you
encode
do
the
that
location
roll, you will get to
can be
this step
drawn
by
associating the
series
bottom
of
two
builds
corners
inside
with
here
a
and their
coordinate
geometric
0,
position. You'd be
with
like,
the
well, I can't do
key
that,
is
or I
underscore
want to
0 in
compare
state,
them differently, and then that's 1, because that's
which
where the
means
key
those
would
top
be
two
X, Y,
corners are
Z.
associated with the key is
Time
under
could
square
be
1 in state.
non-legitimate. This measures
about what it
an
means for our
intelligence of a
solution to
marshmallow
actually
experiment,
work.
0 and 1.
means that no
It
matter
says
where you
on the
start,
left you
if
would
you're
get it. I would
forced to
pick
take
up
a
on that
step
if I had a
along an
facial
edge,
expression of
or
this
to
thing
flip
blinking
one of
at
the
me.
coins, you can
And I
always
needed it
guarantee
here
that you end
because
up in
the
whichever
energy and the
least convenient
physics
you
X,
want.
Y, 0, 1 are actually moving here. But in the quadrants, they're not doing that. There's something that quantifies the resistance,
Now
the
the question
force.
is,
This
what does it
becomes
look like for a bigger
electromagnetism,
chessboard?
Gauss law.
The next simplest
You
case
know,
would
this
be
is
3
a
squares,
whole. Can you
3
pick
coins,
up on the
and 3
infrared
possibilities for where
vision
the key
on the
is.
X-ray machine of the
This
block
gives
and
us
just
8
put it on your
possible
HUD
states
and
that the coin can be in. And playing
be
the same
in.
game that we did before, interpreting these states as coordinates, it brings us up into 3-dimensional
bang.
space.
'Cause I'm gonna hit that
Each
box. What was the
state
problem? Well,
sitting at the corner of a
start
unit
there.
cube.
I'll figure it out.
The usefulness in a picture like this is that it gives a very vivid meaning to the
Yes,
idea of
he
turning
was
over
on
one
this.
of the
He was
coins.
doing dumb shit
Every
right.
time you flip a coin, you're walking along the edge of a cube.
It's right there. Right there. Moving. Doing stuff. It's moving
What
stuff
would
on the
be for
clock
you
right now.
if
We
you
got it.
follow in
The
making
stone
kind of a
mill
strategy for this
with the
puzzle?
rock in there and the saw's gonna come
Whenever
up through here when I
prisoner
scale
walks
out
into that
on.
room, they need to be able model to associate the state that they're looking at, 3 bits basically, with one of
Where
3
is it
possible
going?
squares.
Where is it? When is it moving
Already
like this
thinking very
consistently?
visually, so
That would be
let's
4.
associate those
If
squares
it
with
was,
colors. Maybe red for square 0, green for square 1 and blue for square 2.
So I'm not gonna argue with this guy. I'm gonna stay the hell away from him as far as I fucking can possibly. I don't want to be.
It's the same thing as coloring each of the 8 corners of the cube, either red, green, or blue. So, for example, let's say you colored the whole cube red.
Well,
I don't know if you
zero sigma sum if I put him in here.
And then with always guessing that the key is
and it was already
square
programmed
0.
because of all this. Click,
Let's say
click.
instead your strategy
On the
was
clock.
to add the first 2 coins together and use that as an encoding for the key location. Well, then the cube would look like this.
Any one of them will work. Have this one. They know it
We can
works.
count
Somebody
how
over
total
at CERN
strategies
knows it
exist.
works. Soon as somebody
With
gives
3
you any shit,
choices of
click.
the color of each vertex and 8 total vertices, we get 3 to the power 8. Or, if you're comfortable letting your mind stray to the thought of painting a 64-dimensional cube, you can have fun thinking about the sense in which there are 64 to the 2 to the 64 total possible strategies for the original puzzle. This is the size of the haystack when you're looking
Arbitrarily, I'll put it in a 64. I'll put it in 38. I'll put it in 3 big ones and then 8 little.
Plus 1 times coin 1 plus 2 times coin 2.
Omega says it'll work.
And then
Hemingway.
some mod 3 if you need to.
Hemingway.
Over on Stand Up Maths, Matt and I both talk about trying a version of this for the 64 square case, and why it works decently well for a random arrangement of coins, but why it's ultimately doomed. From our view over here,
Doom.
it just
Hemingway.
looks like one more way to
That's
color
not
a cube.
No.
But it's worth
Fuck
taking a
Agent.
moment to walk through some of those corners. Let's say that you get into the room and all 3 coins are set to tails. So it's like you're starting at the corner 0, 0, 0. If you were to flip coin 0, that doesn't change the sum, so it takes you to another red corner. If you flipped coin 1, it increases the
Can you
sum
do the hoodoo
by
voodoo?
1,
Because he's doing
so it
this.
takes you to
And
a
then
green
what if
corner.
he's the bad guy? We'll get to do stuff.
And
Well,
flipping
alright,
coin
he's the
2
good guy. I would
takes you
like to be
to
the
2,
good guy.
which
Can we
looks
do the
like a
good
blue
guy?
corner. The fact that you always have access to whichever color you want is a reflection of the fact that this strategy will always win if this is the corner that you're starting on. On the other hand, let's say that you started at 0, 1, 0. Well, in that case, flipping coin 0 takes you to another green corner, since it doesn't change the sum. But flipping either coin 1 or coin 2
But
happen to take
if you
to a
were
red
here
corner.
and that was
There's
not
simply
what,
no
and
way
you
to get
run,
to a blue.
click.
Basically, what's happening here is that you have the options to subtract 1 by turning off coin 1.
And when I talk about a physics engine, this is what I'm talking about. I have a Droid 1, I have a Droid 2, a Salty 1.1, and I have a Salty 1.2. And I could say 1, 2, 3, and at any point in time, no matter what random subset I hit. What else we got?
Both actually the same operation. But that means that there's no way to change the sum to be 2. An adversarial warden who knows your strategy could start
If I
with
just
this
put 2 of you in the room together,
put the key
in the
underscore
box,
2, and call it done.
just for a little while.
Even without
Click.
thinking about sums mod 3 or anything like that,
See,
the
I knew it
implementation
was on
details,
test, and you
can
took
see
the
this in our
average. You
picture,
dumb motherfucker.
manifested as a
Listen to me and
corner
y'all fix
that
you.
has 2 neighbors of the same color. If you don't have a bird's eye view of all possible strategies, when you find that any specific one of them just doesn't work, you're left to wonder, okay, maybe there's a sneaky,
They-
clever strategy that I just haven't thought of. But when you're
Reactor
thinking about
core.
colors on the
Keep you
cube,
warm.
you're naturally led to an interesting combinatorial question. Is there some way that you can paint this so that the 3 neighbors of any given vertex always represent red, green, and blue?
Interesting.
Maybe it seems bizarre, even convoluted, to go from a puzzle with chessboards and coins to talking about painting
With
corners
Grace
of a
Tyson,
cube.
you want to do it? I love
This
their
is actually
banter.
a much
I
more
love how they
natural
do
step
that.
than
Bring
you
in a
might
good
expect.
crowd for it.
I've
So
talked with a lot
it's
of
a
people about
technique,
this puzzle, and what I love is that many
playing
of the
pool,
experienced
billiards,
problem
sure,
solvers
billiards.
immediately
Just the
jump
bar.
on
Absolutely. Where? Who else? What do you got? When you compare this to the only thing in the universe, the only black hole you actually fucking measured and can do anything with. Did you see it? They may not like it. This is on my side. He's like, and then the other one was looking at him. It wouldn't matter if there was one of these motherfuckers in there, because they would be looking at it. Very, very interesting. Somebody was. You need to take a flag.
This
You
is
scared?
Star Talk.
That's where I want you
I'm
to
your
be.
host, Neil deGrasse Tyson, your personal astrophysicist, and this is going to be a
No,
Cosmic Queries edition, the ever-popular format that we started many years ago.
That guy,
And
he's
it
alright.
keeps going
Compass,
strong.
I'll probably hit that right
And
there.
Today's topic is going to be the multiverse. I got with me my co-host, Chuck.
Hey, Neil. How are you?
Chuck, nice. You know, you getting such a schooling here with all this cosmic knowledge.
Yes,
And
I am.
we're gonna have to give you a degree of your own.
No, because then that may, normally once you get the degree, that means that your time at the institution is over.
Clown arachnophobia?
Unless you start paying more money.
Okay, so they kick you out the front door.
Right.
Okay.
So I'm just going to continue to. I'm just staying in school forever. That's all.
Lifelong learner.
That's
All
it.
right.
Just stay in school.
The screaming gorilla problem of
Well,
the fish.
This topic is in part celebration for the release.
Yeah,
Second
this
Star
is the
Talk
bad.
book.
You can't do nothing.
Guess
Can't
what that
touch
book
nothing.
is
This is
called,
my
Chuck?
saw.
Let me take a stab at it.
Go ahead.
What could it possibly be?
Go back. You're good. I broke it, Neil. Oh, I lost you. Gone forever. The Void got him, boys. Gotta go back and get him later. Remember?
Dr. J, there he is. Good to
Put
see
it on
you.
the list.
Unusual.
Good to be with you, Scott. Well, I know what you're looking for, Scott.
I
know
didn't
you're
say it.
looking for
Apparently
some
somebody wants it
unusual
in here.
activity
Whatever.
Instead of unusual that I'm on just the phone.
Just whatever.
But this time it's Qualcomm. Qualcomm, they're buying the next week out 140 calls, Scott.
What do you want?
That's with the stock right here at
Make
like
chips?
135,
Make chip?
70 or so.
You want me-
One
you
week
want
out,
me to
they
press
bought
this button, maybe?
10,000 of these calls very quickly. Now you see the volume moving up towards 12,000 of them. That's an
That's
awful
great.
lot. I love
Me?
the upside for this stock.
Why do I want to do those things for you?
Sold some out of the money calls.
Tough question.
against it. Second trade, take a look at what's going on in Angie's list. That's what it used to be called. Now it's just Angie, ANGI, but it's a $6 billion company.
I don't
And
like to
they're
just
doing a
look
lot
at the
of
right
things
answer all the time.
apparently. I know
It's
Loop
great.
Capital has some upside on them to 15 or 18 bucks,
Mm,
something like
awesome.
that. And
Thank you, buddy.
we see big
Yeah,
upside
kick me in the
call
dick
lines
while you're at it.
regular April, not the Aprils that I'm sorry, May 15s, even longer. You got the May 15s out
Then
there,
there's this
Scott.
guy. You got
I
this?
bought those
We
calls
both fucked
that
here,
are
buddy. I
more or
suggest
less
we
the at the money, and I'm looking for a lot of upside out of this one as people
Right
get
there. You saw it.
contractors and look for them
Why
on
are you
Angie's
blinking at me?
list. I think that's going to be great for ANGI.
All right, good stuff. Farmer Jim, real quick to you. Looking at my screen because I did get a tweet on Qualcomm earlier. I know you obviously like John's pick. The tweet says, I followed
Waterfall.
Jim into
Hydrofluoric
QCOM.
and ammonium running backwards.
Getting killed here. What to do?
Getting killed? Oh, come on.
That's
Getting
what they
killed.
say, Jim.
Is that
Seriously,
Jody
you
Messina?
can't-
Oh,
say.
you're a sweetheart, Jody.
And I don't listen. I never want anybody. I'm not going to minimize anybody's losses, but for goodness sakes, don't sell. You got to understand
Blink.
with a stock that could be up 50% over the next 12 months. Yeah, it might go down 15% from a high set a couple of months ago. That itself was up 100% over 18 months. So listen, with the reward of good returns,
Like,
you got to take.
what
the
am I supposed to do with my
volatility.
Bank of
Not
America account,
minimizing
buddy?
your losses,
Oh,
but
I
for
will
goodness
grab
sakes,
you.
stick with it.
Fucking shake you out, skin you, you damn rabbit. We'll fucking get you. I want this one. You be this one. And you won't do that dumb shit ever again. And guess what? We'll use that demonstration to make sure nobody else does anything shit like that again. No. No. You can do it like... If the parallel couldn't run off in the background. No. Matter of fact, let's try that theory. Which one you want, guys? Which murder box should I throw 'em in? This come class? Sure, I like it. MIT.
The following
Everybody
content
does.
is provided under a Creative Commons license. Your support
I'll tell this up
helps
here.
MIT
Just-
Courseware continue to offer high-quality educational resources for free. To make a donation or view additional materials from hundreds of MIT courses, visit MIT OpenCourseWare at ocw.mit.
You gotta test that stoplight. He's got OCD, and when he does civilian stops, cruises up on the stop, look, turn, go, whatever.
Introduction to algorithms this term.
Because if he didn't, he'd get that one with that three of them branching off over here, and then it would be that one, commonly, on the average of what happens.
You're going to have a fun time in 6006.
That was the test.
learning a variety of algorithms.
Your
what I
Honor.
want to do today is spend literally a minute or so on administrative details,
Yeah.
maybe even less. What I'd like to do is to tell you to go to the website that's listed up there and read it. And you'll get all the information you need about what this class is about from a standpoint of syllabus, what's expected of you, the problem set schedule, the quiz schedule, and so on and so forth. I want to dive right in and tell you about interesting things like algorithms and complexity of algorithms. I want to spend some time giving you an overview of the course content, and then we're going to dive right in and look at a particular problem of peak
Why would
finding,
he do that?
both a one-dimensional version and a two-dimensional version, and talk about algorithms to solve this peak finding problem. Both
Interesting.
varieties of it. And you'll find that there's really a difference between these various algorithms that we'll look at in terms of their complexity. And what I mean by that is you're going to have different run times of these algorithms depending on input size based on how efficient these algorithms are. And a prerequisite for this class is 6042. And in 6042, you learned about asymptotic complexity, and you'll see that in
Pixels.
this lecture,
We already covered this, guys.
relatively simple
It was this
algorithms
one over
today
here.
in terms of their asymptotic complexity, and you'll be able to compare and say
Ones
that
and
this
zero.
algorithm is faster
No,
than this other
it
one,
knows, but it knows
assuming that you have large inputs,
some XY stuff a little bit better.
asymptotically
How it knows
less
that
complex.
with stuff on it.
So let's
It's just
dive right in and talk about the class.
click.
So the one-sentence summary of this class is that this is about efficient procedures for solving
So I just whip it out,
problems
Sarge.
on large inputs.
When this is this, we're gonna come to the room. The fact that we all decided to come here for gravity was a problem.
A map of all of the
Was a problem. When you come to me, you didn't know me. I had no fucking. You had no fucking clue. College told you ones and zeros told you this is where this is, and they said that was that, and you will follow that fucking law.
that I guess has 500 million nodes or so. So these are large
Blink.
inputs. Now our definition of large has really changed with the times. And so really the 21st century
We'll get into that here in a minute. AUAX, that's mine versus theirs. This is fine. I'm here to differentiate a different type of topology, a different universe. I'm over here now.
I guess I'm dating myself here.
This is going to create a field if I go against that, and they're using this, literally this, a frame of reference on a system that is the most controversial.
The world is moving faster. Things are getting bigger. We're have the capability
IH, yeah, throw it up on the board. Those are the limits. New Navy uniform review. Okay, they like this. Take your name, put a 1 up on there. It's a computer science now. This one. This one.
You can maybe scan a billion elements.
This
in a
one?
matter of seconds,
Maybe this one?
but if
You gotta
have
get
an
in there,
algorithm that
especially when they're doing
requires
shit like
big
this.
complexity,
Where
suddenly
is it?
you're not
Where
talking about
is
10 raised to 9, you're talking about 10 raised to 27, and even current computers can't really handle
Just
that
gonna
kind
go
of,
there.
those kinds of numbers. So efficiency is a concern, and as inputs get larger, it becomes more of a concern. Right? So we're concerned about efficient procedures for solving large-scale problems in this
You can
class.
tell. That's exactly what it was. It had these in there. Gold chip. What's $1,000?
And
Maybe that.
concerned
Maybe
about
not
the
even
scale
that.
Because just as
Whew, that's some work.
1,000
Yes.
was a big number a couple of decades ago, and now it's kind of a small
Damn
number.
dreamer over
It's quite
here. He's
possible
like,
that
I'm gonna make a 3D engine out of this
by
thing
the
like a
time
champ. Do it on
there's a
chalkboard.
professor
Fuck you,
teaching this class
GPT-3.
at some university that a trillion is going to be a small number, and
So-
we're going to be talking about I don't know, 10 raised to 18 as being something that
Did you design this? Are you out there,
we're
Darkway?
concerned with from a standpoint of a common case input for an algorithm. So scalability is
Interesting. Well, I've
important.
watched this one, so it's
and
not
we
like
wanna be
this.
able to
You blinked
track
at me and the stone
how
looked
our
like, you
algorithms are
know.
going to do as inputs get larger and larger. you're going to learn a bunch of different data structures. We'll call them classic data structures, like binary search trees, hash tables that are called dictionaries in Python, and data structures such as balanced binary search trees that are more efficient than just the regular binary search trees. And these are all data structures that
Talk about RD. We just hit it today on specs on battery cars.
but
Wow.
they've stood the test of time, and they continue to be useful. We're going to augment these data structures in various ways to make them more efficient for certain kinds of problems. And
We've been waiting for this.
Which one did I say?
The chance to help you get ready once again. With great deals on new styles for all the moments ahead. So when you're ready, get ready with the help of the new Men's Warehouse.
This is where it happens, though. How long ago? 6 months. This is as tight as you get. CNBC. The numbers they thought were important are how they set this up, at least. Obviously.
Will you shut up, man? China ate your lunch, Joe.
You're the worst president America has ever had.
Hey,
Come
Joe,
on. I'm not here to call out his lies. Everybody knows he's a liar.
But you
I just
agree-
want to
Hey,
make
Joe,
sure.
Joe, you're the liar.
I want to make sure.
Graduated last in your class, and you're first in your class.
I want to make
Mr.
sure.
President, can you let him finish, sir?
No, he doesn't know how to do that.
You know what? You're
Absolutely not
stop.
true.
You're going to
Not
have
true.
gentlemen. I hate to raise my voice, but
he's
it
on
seems to be. Why shouldn't I be different than the two of you?
That's right. You tell them, brother.
I will tell you very simply, we won the election. Elections have consequences. We have the Senate, we have the White House, and we have a phenomenal
What are those?
nominee.
N? What
respected
the fuck's
by
that mean to me? How do I know you can throw that fucking ball? I've seen that number before. 100% of the time. Get it on the board. Here's a free space. You do that. Matter of fact, I'll put your ass over here and you'll do it.
And when they vote for the President of the United States. They're not going to get that chance now because we're in the middle
Nobody
of
cares.
national-
We have blockchain technology. Secure net without you assholes in it that would define the number. I'll be like, I'm this photon. I go here. I get in trouble if I don't get in that.
Because guess what? A lot of
A
people
cyber
died.
person walk up to you. I don't care if you beat your
More are
wiener.
gonna die
I
unless he
mean,
gets
just
a
don't.
lot smarter.
Obviously,
If we would've
invisible
listened
lie.
to you, the country would have been left wide open. Millions of people would have died, not 200,000, and one person is too much. It's China's fault. It should have never happened.
Have you seen
They
that?
stopped it from going in, but it was China's fault. This guy will close down the whole country and destroy
Put
our
it down.
country.
You're gonna
Our
kill
country is
everybody.
coming back incredibly well, setting records as it does it. We don't need somebody to come in and say, let's shut it down.
We handed him a booming economy. He blew it.
Put it up on. Right here. Fuck. You're gonna fire it. Very close. I like. I'll
China
play.
now than we did before. We have the highest trade deficit
China
with
ate
Mexico.
your lunch.
All right, gentlemen.
10%. China ate your lunch, Joe, and no wonder
What
your
is
son
this one?
goes in and
Look,
he
right
takes
there.
out.
It was this
Well,
and
he
this.
takes out billions of dollars. Takes out billions of dollars to manage. He makes millions of dollars. And also, while we're at it, why is it? Just out of curiosity, the mayor of Moscow's wife gave your son $3.5 million.
That's
What
not
did he
true.
do to deserve it?
That
What
is-
did he do with Burisma
None
to
of that-
deserve
Wait, wait,
$183,000?
None
You've
of
asked
that
a
is
question,
true.
let him answer it.
None of that is true.
Oh,
It's
really? He didn't
totally
get
But no,
$3.5?
But are you willing tonight to condemn white supremacists and militia groups and to say that they need to stand down and not add to the violence in a number of these cities, as we saw in Kenosha and as we've seen in Portland?
Sure,
Are you
I'm willing
prepared
to
to
do that,
specifically
but
do it? Well,
I
go
would
ahead,
say
sir.
I would say almost everything I
Take
see
it. I
is
hope you
from
see
the
it all,
left wing, not
Zuckerberg.
from the right
Look
wing.
at it.
What are you saying?
I'm willing to do anything. I want to see
Well,
peace.
then do it, sir.
Say it. Do it. Say it.
This is the computer. How do we get there on my program? Okay, what? You want? I'm taking it over. You're doing my shit now. You're the program system. You didn't know what you were doing. Reconstruct numbers over here. Renegotiate. Goddamn deal.
Somebody's got to do something about Antifa and the left, because this is not a right-wing problem. This is a left. This is a left-wing problem.
White supremacist. Antifa's an idea, not an organization.
Oh, you got it.
Not militia.
Is that a carrot? I saw it. It was good, buddy. Nice one, Peacock. Thank you for dropping it. For now. You're alright. For now. Cat toy. Yeah. We're good here? We good? We glitchy? You might be in for a ride today. I don't know. Jordan Patterson, what do you got to say? Danger with antisocial males. Well, they're all antisocial males, honestly. Otherwise, this thing happens right here. It can be a fucking issue. But then on the other side. Johnny, what do you got? Wheel of Fate. Don't let me down. What do you got? Carving it out, yeah. No. It's Americans. I'm American. You say I ignored something, I'm pretty pissed off. I was like, well, if I'd be doing your job, and that'd be what I ignored, and I'd have your job. That's a problem. What do you want? What do you want, Tom? Leave me. That'll do. Oh, the internet's a much bigger place than that. It's like, oh, I don't know, fuck all the time. I'm the reactor now. I power this fucker. Simple. You think you need that, but you don't need that part of it. You can get there through other. You can get there through other ways. But I don't. Here's a chicken and a knife perk, Tony. Very, very interesting. This is where I got sexual fundamental failure before. Well, all of them. And then I pin them next to each other. I'd let them go at it.
This is Bio 150, isn't it? Okay, just wanted to make sure. Okay, so we start off with a scenario. 40-year-old guy, quiet suburban life, married, 15 years, 2 kids, 3.5 dogs, everything's standard, everything's going wonderfully. And one day, out of nowhere, he punches somebody in the face at work. Totally bizarre, out of character. The guy is standing there by the water cooler and makes some comment on some baseball team, takes exception to it, punches him in the face. Utterly strange. Things are quiet. 3 months later, his wife of 15 years, happy marriage, discovers he's having an affair with a 16-year-old checkout kid down at the Safeway. Really weird. Then, 3 months after that, he absconds with all the money at work, embezzles it, disappears, and is never seen again. 3 possibilities. First one, this guy is a truly deep creep. Second, he's having the most immature midlife crisis you could ever imagine. Third possibility, he has a mutation in one gene in his head. And what we'll be seeing is this is exactly the profile that you get in a certain neurological disease where it's one gene that's out of whack. First demonstration of that. Okay, just to get a sense of who's here, how many of you think there is a genetic influence on sexual orientation? Okay. How many think it is possible for prenatal events to influence your political opinions 30 years later? Okay. How many think that there is a valid way of using biology to understand who's religious and who isn't? Yeah, you're not quite as many hands there. Okay, as long as we're in that terrain. How many people believe in God? How many people believe in souls?
It is A.
How many people
when you say FMA by fields of dark matter. And then you can quantify it to whatever the fuck you want that code to call.
How many people believe in free will? That's going to change. Okay. Oh, I might as well ask, is there anybody in this room who actually does believe in evolution? Just wanted to make sure, see what we're dealing with here. Okay,
Can you
how
do it
many
here?
think
You can do
that
it
there
here.
is
You're
a
going to
genetic
be
influence
guard
and that there's a
systems,
basic biological
teams,
difference, a
jobs
sex
down the
difference
road.
in levels of aggression?
And if you were in that spot while breeding and she knew by a field of just
sex
X's and
differences
Y's,
in intelligence. Okay.
sex
Who
was the
thinks it's
factor.
all explained
Was-
by nature? Who thinks it's all explained by nurture? Who think there's a magnificent, fascinating, nuanced interaction between nature and nurture? Yay, okay. Well, everybody's going to get an A+ then. You already have the course under control.
Warden?
Okay, so we start off trying to find something in common.
Why are you here? Tell them to sit down and be quiet. The grade should be fine. I'll give you what you're looking for. I'll give you this room. Everybody in it.
Scraped out there, but these are 4 circumstances that have something surprising in common.
You want the number. So you hit them with this when they ask you stupid questions, because I'm watching that and you're watching some grades and doing stuff. It's a job.
Taking anabolic steroids. Those of you who are not oriented to it, that's the ones that build up your muscle, like testosterone derivatives. Okay, these all have something in common. Having your period, having a brain tumor, eating a lot of junk food, and taking a lot of anabolic steroids. Anybody want to fathom a guess what's the commonality amongst the 4 of them? Yeah.
X. Droid.
Hormones. Good.
Droid.
Okay, we're often running
Fundamental
with
failure
hormones.
behavior. Who caught
Good.
that?
Even more specific than that. Something they all have in common. Oh, come on, somebody want to guess?
Gravity standard model. Hadron collider.
I see these brief movements of hands there as people change their mind. Okay, it all has to do with hormones. They all have hormones in common, I say, trying to facilitate somebody making the next guess. Oh, come on, they all have something. Okay, we got to get out of here at some point. These all have 4 things in common. All of these have been used successfully in courts of law to explain
Mortuary
the
minds.
behavior
These are
of
the
a
death count.
murderer.
Even for him in it, even though his experience can survive it better, doesn't mean it couldn't happen.
First case, a number of cases where the fact that a woman was having her period at the time of killing someone was part of what a jury said led them to exonerate the person. A literature showing that a disproportionate share of female aggression comes around the time of menses. Next one. There is an area of the brain you will know oh so much about over the next 3 months called the amygdala that has something to do with aggression and has something to do with fear. And you get a brain tumor there, and in a number of cases, you get someone who is uncontrollably violent. And this has also been used successfully in a court of law. Junk food. Any of you who are
I don't like it like that. They did this, they did that, they will do this again, and I will predict the physics on that. We'll take the poll statistics on that, and that's what it was. It wasn't a... Schizophrenia isn't a thing when I go to fundamental Jordan Patterson licking envelopes with a kid that's handicapped. And that's, if I was in the room as a psychologist, it would drop the game for any Drago-looking astronaut if he didn't catch that, or if when they do, it would differentiate, which makes tension and power and wire crosses. This is wire hooked in. Something come in different, some field differential magnetics. I put in, it caught some shit on the team. If he's lead and there's a team, I had to do this.
Put all 4 of these together, and we get the first of the 2 points of this entire course, which is sometimes the stuff that's going on in your body can dramatically influence what goes on in your brain. Second critical point. Tonight, when you've settled back down and you're ready to go to sleep and you're nice and relaxed and your heart's beating nice and slow, think the following thought. You know, that heart isn't going to beat forever. Think about your lips turning blue after that. Think about the blood flow slowing down. Think about your feet and your toes getting cold. And at that point, you will probably be increasing the rate at which that heart beats. And you will have just seen the second key thing in this course, which is sometimes what's going on in your head will affect every single outpost in your body. And what this course is about is the intertwining, the interconnections between your physiology and your behavior, the underlying emotions, thoughts, memories, all of that, and the capacity of each to deeply influence the other under all sorts of circumstances.
Now, what we're going to be doing with this is trying to understand this under fairly difficult circumstances. If everybody here was here because they really wanted to understand
They were doing
why all
this.
wildebeest on
Then
Earth
anything
mate in
else
the
that's
same
not
week
maroon would
each
be
year,
obvious by an irrational
we have a
number,
fighting chance
negative
of
one
figuring
off the
that one
hop.
out.
And you can,
But that's not what we want to understand.
and that's what
We don't wanna
the
understand
note
why
is where
birds
heat
migrate
equation
and don't
comes
get
up, I
lost.
guess.
We want to
You could
understand
say
human
flow
behavior.
dynamics as an air turbulence equation, density differences just off of the natural rules in a box, so something's different inside of here.
Human behavior. And if you're going to try to do that, there's a problem, which is officially, it's complicated. It is a huge, messy process trying to make sense of the biology of human social
Bar,
behavior.
you at the fair,
And
busting up
just
some
as
kid.
all sorts of realms, when
Yeah.
one deals with messy, complicated problems that you need to think about in some
Frankenstein.
wildly interacting way,
Slayer
we all
plates,
have a
that's right.
strategy that we come up with. A strategy to make things easier, which is that we think in categories. We think
It's
in
hard when you
categories.
have-
We take things that are continua and we break them into categories. And we
And that's what you've done with Weebles. Even though Weebles exists, we have to put your own category into it, and that's the behavior. You'll time that out on the day. That's everything once a month, right, honey? I mean, rather once every morning, then I can graph that with a sensor and be able to say, well, this is what they're supposed to be doing. I want to generally cut that down and find out they fucked up their numbers, and it's actually human, not just a rock and what it's supposed to do, working its way across the Adobe Desert there with the sunshine on this side and cold in the morning, so it creeps along. What do you got? No, you go. You like where this is going? Think I'll set you up on this? Yeah, you might have to watch 8 minutes again. Start it back over. Hook it back up. Do this.